What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good evening, or wherever you are, and whatever time it is. Welcome back to yet another video with you, man. Immersionaholic, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another online battle for the Divided to Pair Overhaul mod for Total War Rome 2. And today, everybody, we have two absolute juggernaut monstrosity of factions going against each other, with Sparta taking on Carthage. This is a epic matchup for a couple of reasons. First off, we have some really good players in here. We have Hyperthorne, who has sent in the replay himself, so massive shout out to him. Thank you very much, mate. And he's playing against Discord user SM. At least I'm hopefully pronouncing that correctly. But another reason this is so epic is because we have a 40 versus 40 units battle. At least both players have the capacity to bring in 40. I believe they're using Ultra Funds and have made it so they can bring in the 40 stack if they like. The Spartan army here has 38. Sparta, of course, played by Hyperthorne. Again, the bloke you sent in the replay, thank you very much, mate. And then SM playing as Carthage, who we cannot see off in the distance. And because we have so many units on the battlefield, and also because we can't even see the Carthaginian army out there, I'm just going to list off the units. I'm not going to go in and highlight every single one and where they are, but I will talk about the army compositions when we do see both armies. So I will at least talk briefly about the Spartan army. But since we can see the Spartan army, I'll list off the Spartan roster and the Carthage roster, and then we'll begin the battle, and I'll start talking about the army positioning. Anyway, let's do this. So everybody, for Sparta, we actually have some allied Furio swords. We have 6 units of them. We then have 5 archers, 4 pure Spartan hoplites, 5 Spartan thorax swords. We can see some, not there, over there in the background. We then also have 4 sets of thorax pikes, the new unit that's come to the Spartans since the latest DEI update. We then have 6 Skiritai swords. They're guerrilla deploying swords, although they're not using their deployment now, they're over here. And then we have 6 Spartan youths, which are basically a mixture of light infantry that act as like a bit of a screening force, and yeah, basically just some light spearmen, no javelin unfortunately. And then they of course have their general, which is the Hippias bodyguard, the proper absolute juggernaut bodyguard, one of the best bodyguards in the game. As you can see, 0 cavalry, so this is going to be really tricky. But anyway, I'll read off the Carthaginian roster, and then I'll talk about the Spartan positioning as we begin the battle. So Carthage, played again by SM, ESEM is the name. He has 5 Libyan swords, 5 Libya-Phoenician spears, 6 Libya-Phoenician swords, 6 Iberian champions, aka swordsmen, very, very severe shock sort of swords. We then have 3 slingers, 2 archers, 3 citizen cav, which is a shock-based citizen cav for the Carthaginians. Then he has 2 mercenary Iberian heavy cav, which is mainly a shock cav, but it kind of works also as a melee. Talk more about that later. And then his general, is a citizen cav late version, which is absolutely a shock cav. Let's go ahead and press play as we talk about the Spartan positioning as they march forward slowly. I will skip ahead because it does take quite a while for both armies to get near each other. Now, initial thoughts, I have no idea who's going to win. These are such powerful factions. Sparta has a very limited roster, but its roster is so good. It has some of the most elite troops in the entire ancient world. At least, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I know it's a very bold statement to make, but far out. The general of the Spartan bodyguard can win an army on its, win a battle on its own. It's just incredible. But yeah, this is going to be seriously close. I really have no idea who wins, thankfully, so this will be a surprise for me as well. I always try to make that the case when I do these. The Spartans are coming in very sword heavy. I was expecting more hoplites, but they're also really hard to use in online battles. So here on the right, he's got just swords, 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 and then in the rear spears. He does start off with kind of his worst swords at the front, I guess, to sort of take the brunt. Then he comes up with his allied Thurio swords, which are, a little bit better, more numerous and whatnot. 3 javelins, by the way. Thorax swords in the rear, and then Spartan use in the rear, which I'm assuming he's going to want to use to protect his flank because he has 0 cavalry. Very, very risky. The Spartan cav is pretty bad, but it does have some options, and its shock cav isn't too terrible. It's actually quite efficient if you can get it to work. But yeah, Hyperthorne, he's just said, screw that, I'm not going to bother with cavalry, I'm just going to keep spears in the rear. So he's got, on the left-hand flank, he's basically mirroring his right-hand flank with, you know, weak swords, followed up by mid-tier, then elites, and then spears to protect them. The center is interesting. That's where his pikes are centered around, I believe. Yes, so in his first line, he has his Spartan hoplites, the purebred proper Spartans, and then they are followed up by some of the pikemen, right here, the thorax pikes. And then where's the other one? Over here, yes. So, interesting core. Obviously, he's going to be just mainly like holding with his core while he's trying to like encroach and push through the enemy flanks. I mean, he might try to hold with his swords, but it's unlikely. His Skirachai swords are not going to last long, and his allied Thurio swordsmen are not going to last that long either. At least I doubt they will. Then he's got the general up here in the rear. Fine spot for him. He'll get involved in the late game, hopefully. It's an amazing general. You really do want to keep it in the fight. But if you can save it, for the end, it's going to get some serious work done. Those of you who consistently watch my online battles will know just how insane Sparta can be. But anyway, he's moving forward in a fairly balanced formation. The battlefield does have some forest going on, so we might see some Carthaginians trying to do some flanking, perhaps over here. But we are oh my gosh, I can't talk today. We're using the large battlefield submod. Link in the description, of course. But the deployment is small with this certain submod, so they do have to march a fair way. That's why we're going to skip ahead a few minutes now. But I mean, anything could happen. I really have no idea what to expect. So let's skip ahead until we can see the Carthaginian army. Alright everyone, it's been a few minutes now. We still have 23 minutes left in the battle, so you can see this is going to be a bloody slug of a battle. You can see the Carthaginians are positioning here in a relatively balanced formation. Cavalry in the rear, interestingly enough though. Of course, you do have to keep in mind, Hyperthorne doesn't know the exact units that Carthage has, unlike us. That's kind of one of the reasons why I used to not read out the army compositions, but a lot of you guys did request it, so that's okay, we'll go with that. Libyan Thurios swords are in the center, followed up by his mix of skirmishers. A couple slingers, and then a few archers. Not too heavy on it, though. And it's just low tier slingers, by the way, not even Balearics. And the flanks, how are the flanks looking? Thorax swords on the left over here, followed up by Libyan infantry. Interesting choice. Libyan infantry are terrible. Basically levy units, so I don't know why he has them up there in the rear. Interesting to see how he tries to use them. Left-hand flank, mercenary Iberian cav. Then he's got some Libyan Phoenician Thurio spears here. Yes. Back here in his third line in the center is where he has his real killers. Let's get a close-up of them, these bad boys. Mercenary Iberian champions. These guys have a melee attack of 18. It is disgusting. These guys are really, really hard to kill. Very good counter against Spartan spears, but they don't really have all that much armor piercing, so we'll see if they can handle it. Looks like the battle's beginning with the centers moving forward of the Carthaginians. Libyan Thurios infantry, basically Libyan Thurio swords coming in. I think they're slightly worse than typical Thurio swords, memory serves. Right hand flank looking basically reflective of the left hand flank, but yeah, you can see the Carthaginians spacing out his army quite a lot. Battle begins. First blood is drawn by the Spartans, hitting the Libyan Thurio swords coming forward. There goes all of the javelins. Now, I do expect some lag to be had here, especially with all of the projectiles flying around, so apologies in advance, but it is what it is. Rome 2 is an old game, and additionally, my computer is getting outdated, so We just gotta do what we can. But man, this is gonna be very brutal, but the Spartans are kind of wasting all of their javelins. Interesting choice. The Libyan Thuros infantry just eating up all the javelins. Obviously that's what they're meant for. Carthaginian skirmishers are going to target the Spartan skirmishers. You can see those attack orders coming in. And the Spartans won't last long. Spartan player needs to get into a melee grind relatively quickly, in my opinion. Especially with his hoplites. His hoplites aren't even taking skirmisher fire. Intentional choice by the Carthaginian, obviously, but oh my gosh. Carthaginian skirmishers are getting decimated by the Spartans. That's not something you'd think I would say. Right wing of the Carthaginians marches forward. Cavalry automatically just starts to flank around because they have nothing stopping them. Same thing far over here on the Carthaginian left. Looks like they're probably going to be coming around. Skirishai swords clash on the right against the enemy Libyan Thuros infantry, at least the remnants. Skirishai swords on the left are mostly getting involved as well. But look at this center. Spartan archers are now starting to really take serious losses, as are the Carthaginian archers. Very 50-50, but I think the Carthaginians are starting to get ahead with their skirmishers. Here comes more Libyan Thuros infantry. This is the really low tier? Is that the No, that's not the low tier. Low tier. Where'd they go? Oh, they're over there and back in the rear again. Very interesting positioning, but okay. The Spartan phalanx marches forward. Let's try to get a zoom in. Oh my gosh. A little laggy, boys, but that's alright. It's worth it. Spartans aren't in phalanx mode just yet. They need to get their phalanx down. Alright, is he giving... There we go. Now he has the phalanx order going. A little risky leaving it so late because the Carthaginian could have used the war cry ability to stop that, but he hasn't. However, he is pulling his Carthaginians away from the Spartan hoplites. Oh, and now they're getting hammered by javelins. Very nice move right there. Spartan hoplites going to suffer serious casualties. Carthaginian cav is encircling the Spartans, but the Spartan youths are very, very fast, and their attack and defense is not something to be trifled with. Armor is very low though, but they could certainly hold the flanks at least. I would try to spread them out a little bit more though. Being stuck in a single line means that there's going to be gaps that can form up potentially for the Carthaginians to get in there. Yeah, center of both armies isn't really engaging. It's all happening on the flanks at the moment. Again, Carthaginians fully encircling the Spartans, going all the way around right here, as you can see. They're gonna try to go for the archers. Yeah, Spartan youths are out of position over here. Tries to move these Spartan thorax swords. It's too little, too late. Spartan archers are gonna take a serious charge right there. Boom. Whoa. These archers are really low tier. I would be surprised if they don't rout. Yeah. I mean, the skirmishers, I don't think they're gonna really decide the battle, but I mean, why wouldn't you charge your unit in? This unit of mercenary Iberian heavy cav is going to take some losses potentially. Nope, they managed to pull out just in time. Oh no, they take a few losses, but overall they'll be fine. Up to 10 losses almost, yeah. It's an opening for the Spartans. Spartans are way out of position on the right hand flank, so the Carthaginians are going to push forward. Here comes their cheap Libyan Thuros infantry. Perhaps going to tie off these Spartan youths that are being drawn forward. Meanwhile, allied Thuros swords are clashing against the Libyan Phoenician thorax swords already. Mixed with the Libyan Phoenician spears. Again, the centers of both armies are just holding. Spartan player knows that he can't really push forward because then the Carthaginian can just pull back anyway. So not a terrible idea to just hold. That's all he needs to do. It's all about the flanks. Who's going to win what flank? Carthaginian cavalry over here on the left getting involved. Trying to get some rear charges in. General gets a devastating charge against some Thuros swords. We do have a hole opening up right here in the Spartan line. They do have some reserves nearby, mainly the Spartan youths. But Look at that morale. But the Spartans wavering quite severely. Keep in mind it's the allied units that are wavering, which of course is the crux of Spartan military. The Spartans will try to plug up the gap it seems with their use, but man, that's, yeah. Very nice use of cavalry by the Carthaginian player. These pikemen, they're kind of just being wasted back here. Carthaginian isn't going to get through these hoplites, so these units right here, like this one on the flank and this one, might be able to be used to like plug in gaps on the right, especially against like this Carthaginian cav that's right here, causing some trouble against some Spartan thorax swords. But yeah, it's gonna be tough to make that happen. Pikes are just so hard to use in online battles. Left-hand flank of the Spartans is looking very messy. They're almost getting stuck in their sort of own little battle over here. Carthaginians really overwhelming them. And here comes the cavalry. If they want to do that charge though, they're going to get trapped by the Spartan use potentially. Comes in with a very nice charge. These mercenary Iberians getting involved. Spartan use are going to try to come in. But yeah, that Spartan archer is going to be gone. These Spartan youths, I mean, the Spartan youths are in the fight that they need to be. They're fighting Cav, so not too terrible. Spartans do go for an aggressive push in the center, but yeah, look at this. Now they're going to be drawn out of position, although the pikes are there to support. So we'll see how that goes. Seems like the right-hand flank is holding for both sides to an extent. Yeah, we're seeing some mixed results so far. It seems to be that the left-hand flank of the Spartans is in far deeper jeopardy. We still have this hole here. The youths that were thrown into it have been busy over here dealing with Cav. Yeah, look at this. Oh, a double charge coming in. Oh, that's savage, mate. Very nice usage of Cav again from the Carthaginian player. I definitely understand why the Spartan player Hyper didn't want to bring in his own Cav. I get that. I do that sometimes as well. But yeah, the Cav of the Carthaginians is just... Ooh, look at that. They get caught out there. Probably won't lose too many, but it's a small little micro mistake. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful management of the cavalry. That's cavalry. Cav. Oh my goodness. What a battle. It's still really up in the air as to who's going to win. It seems to be favoring Carthage from what I'm seeing. Like, look at this devastating charge coming in against the pikes. Ooh, they don't get their pikes down in time. They're getting hit from the front by the Iberian champions. And then they just got a devastating charge against them. Thorax swords are chasing down that Cav unit, but man, whoa, that hurts. Spartans do get a minor breakthrough here on the right-hand side. A couple of Carthaginian units wavering, but look at that. Oh, devastating charge by the Carthaginian general. Let's check in on his kills. Must be high now, 168, and he's lost 25 men. General is doing very good to Carthage. And yeah, they rat that unit. We get a small hole opening up right here in the Spartan line now. The Spartan center is doing fine, but they're not really going up against anything all that substantial. I mean, they're taking on the Iberian champions, but they could just pull away like they have here. It's tricky. Carthaginians doing really well to pick apart the Spartans. Like, look at this over here. It really is its own little mini battle. Spartan general is already getting involved. He's lost 10 men and he's killed 90. Wow, almost 100. in the few seconds I said that, he killed like 10 men. That general is just monstrous. So it's gonna come over here to the left-hand flank, try to help out his weaker side. Drops the rally ability, so he's not using the war cry. Haven't seen the Carthaginian ability being popped yet, but look at this. Big breakthrough for Carthage over here on the right-hand side. Spartans, 3 Spartan units routing. Not good for them. Yeah, these Spartan youths, they're just not protecting this rear at all. At least nowhere near good enough. They were to an extent initially, but then they had to be used as reserves against the Carthaginians. And they're just getting squashed. Spartan player is doing well with his pikemen to like micromanage them, get them pushing in. They look like they're going really aggressive here, so 63 kills for 0 losses, not bad at all, but they're about to be outflanked. And they're going to be outflanked by mercenary champions. Oh, that's not good. Oh dear, gentlemen. Yeah, these Spartans are going to be in the fight of their life. I mean, the Spartan proper units are very high in morale, but they're just getting surrounded and taken apart piecemeal by piecemeal. 10 minutes left in the battle somehow, and we lose the entire Spartan left-hand flank. The general is now absolutely in jeopardy. An amazing unit, but you don't want him caught out here on his own. Although he's still, again, only lost 10 men, and he has 228 kills. So, I mean, maybe the Spartan general could just hold that flank on his own. Absolutely insane. The center of the Spartans is going relatively well. They're kind of like pushed through and are folding around the Carthaginians. Interesting maneuver. And the Spartans are coming back from routing, which is something that's interesting. The Carthaginians are not chasing them down effectively. Got a few units kind of stuck out here. Need to get them back in the fight, but Carthaginian player is very busy micromanaging his cav. Look at that. Very nice charge coming in. Goodbye, Spartans. Skiritai swords and the Spartan thorax swords. I would be shocked if they don't rout. Yep, there goes the thorax swords. Ooh, he drops a raised banner. Is it enough to keep them? Oh, wow. The Skiritai swords stay in the fight, but the thorax swords end up routing. Spartan youths are coming back from routing from earlier. Look at this giant blob of Spartans. A lot of their units are really weakened, but if they can stay together, they might be able to kind of just roll up along the Carthaginian line. Oh my gosh. The Spartan general over here in the meantime. Popping 300 kills, he's lost, what, 21 men? He's surrounded, but he's not really surrounded by troops that are all that great. He will take casualties, especially with recharges coming in, but the Carthaginian player isn't really bringing in all that many. He's instead focusing on wavering units. Oh, bad charge right there. Thorax swords are actually going to charge the cav, but they have insane amount of kills. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. They're in the 300s, mate. The units that did rout earlier from the Spartan right in their flank seem to have come back. Look like they're holding out against the Carthaginians. They are tired. Spartans have very high morale, but they don't have the stamina of, like, say, the Romans. If this was the Romans, they would just be, like, winded, if that. Another big advantage. He's trying to get his thorax pikes involved, but man, that's hard. It's tough. Mercenary Iberian champions fighting the hoplites. Hoplites just not getting kills. Oh, yeah, 100 kills, that's okay, but those are relatively expensive units. I'm not sure on the rules of this battle for them, so perhaps he was limited to bringing those hoplites, but even then he only has like 4, so he definitely hasn't done anything wrong with that selection, in my opinion. His general is very tired. It's down to 252 men. He's killed 320, so the kill ratio is starting to shift drastically. He does have thorax swords coming in, but I mean, how many general units can you see get surrounded, exhausted, and still just be eager to fight? They literally are eager. That's insane. Now the Spartan army is getting really separated, very risky, but they need to come over and support their general. I can absolutely see this right-hand flank of Spartans getting eaten up. And I think Hyper knows that, and he's probably just trying to use these units to get whatever kills they can, and delay as long as they can. Because, yeah. He does have a lot of troops coming back from routing, though. It's one of the things about the 1.3 series of updates, is that troops rout a lot earlier now, but they are more prone to coming back to the battle. So in your online battles yourselves, you really need to be aware. I need to work on that too. I often forget that they come back from routing. Even on the minimap. Is that a friendly unit way over here? Look at this Carthaginian cav out here. 190 kills. So it's done well, but it could be doing a lot more, you know? But that's the thing about playing on large battlefields. It's so easy to lose track of your troops. Carthaginian general, way over here. He needs to be over here supporting his own troops with morale issues. Yeah, as I suspected, the Spartan right flank is getting destroyed right now. But again, Hyper, I'm sure, is more than aware. Probably just trying to delay the Carthaginians over there while he clumps up his Spartans over here now. He might even want to be a bit more aggressive with his Spartan, give some more double right-click orders, although they are dying very quickly. Not very quickly, but relatively now, compared to earlier at least, so they're exhausted. They do need a rest. If he can somehow beat these Carthaginian units right here, I could definitely see him perhaps try to set up a front line in this forest. It'll reduce the charges of the Carthaginians. You can see these yellow move orders as well, coming from his routing units that are coming back to the battle. Rallying behind their king. Pikemen and the swords are holding out here. Let's try to get some more close-ups now that the battle's a little bit less laggy. There's a lot going on in this battle. You can see just how professional the Spartans are, but look at that charge. Oh no! Poor Spartans. Excellent news for the Carthaginian. He just got a really nice charge with his Iberian champions. Yep, there goes a whole contingent of Spartans. What's that? Thorax sword? No. Hoplites. Yeah, hoplite unit gone. Just a pikeman unit left now, and even then it's not going to last all that long. Have some of those crappy just Libyan units around still. Got some Libyan Phoenician swords hanging out. Similar to like the equivalent of like thorax swords. But yeah. Still absolutely anybody's game. The Carthaginian has more men on the field and more cav. Well, he has all the cav, I should say. But his men are also exhausted. And again, they just don't have the morale of the Spartans. Like, look at this. I'm surprised this unit is lasting as long as it is. Oh, what's that? A thorax spear? Thurio spear. 228 kills. They're insane, man. I don't know how they do so well. And then he has Libyan infantry. Very terrible unit, but it will do some nice morale damage. This unit will come back eventually too. The Spartans are now out of units though from coming back from routing. On the mini-map you can see the Spartans are the red. Oh man, this is looking tight, guys. I don't know. If you're watching this right now, I would love to know what your thoughts are, because I really got no idea. I think the Carthaginians have it, but I don't know. Just that general is so tough. That rally ability is very nice. He's spacing it out really well to try and keep his men in the fight. I would really like to see the Spartan player kind of pull back to the forest, let his men recover. It's okay to stop fighting for a little while in online battles. It's something I try to remember. It's hard to do, but I mean in bigger battles like this it's a little bit more possible. Man, yeah, there's just no time to waste here. We've got a lot of bodies on the ground too, part of the lag there. But overall, very entertaining battle. We never get to see either faction with such big numbers. Surely the Spartan's out right now, right? Surely. What about the Carthaginian general? He is wavering. He's only walking back. They are trying to like defend the flanks a little bit. Not necessarily boxing up, but trying to at least protect their flank. Just more of these Spartans are routing though. They're exhausted. There's so many Carthaginians left. Oh no, here comes a devastating charge for them. Woo. Boom. Beautiful charge. Need to pull them out quickly though. Get out of there. Off you go. Very nice job. Rout that Spartan unit. I think it's it for the Spartans, guys. We only got 1 minute 42 seconds left on the clock, unless they could have killed the Carthaginian general, who's actually just routed. He must have died. But, I mean, what, we got like 4 Spartan units left? Surely it's impossible now. Surely. There's just too many Carthaginians. They even got more coming in the distance. It's too late now. For sure. Very valiantly fought, but... yeah, here comes the charge from the Iberians. Absolutely devastating units. He brought in so many of them. Like, it's so hard to combat as Sparta. Like, he's not going to charge your pikes head on, you know? So, like, what can you do? You need cavalry to, like, disrupt their charge and really smash into them. But the cav of the Carthaginians just did amazing. And then they came in with some really, really effective elite swords. Yeah, here comes the Spartan general. He fought very valiantly. Did really, really well. Almost popping 500 kills. Can he get them? I don't think he can. He's trying to, but no. Just under 500 for him. GG's to both gentlemen. But Carthage takes the victory. The victory belongs to Essem. Congratulations, mate. Awesome catching your battle. And again, massive thank you to Hyperthorne for sending in the replay. Let's very quickly check out the statistics of the battle, and then we'll end it there. Alrighty, everyone. Here we are at the stats. As we can see, the armies were relatively evenly matched in terms of numbers. Just a couple hundred more Carthaginians as opposed to the Spartans. A total of around 8,500 each, almost. That's a lot of men. And you can see why it was a little bit laggy. Again, apologies for that, but such is the way with our level of production right now. The Spartan general, MVP of the Spartan army, going at 479 kills. I believe it has the most kills. Yep. The most kills out of all of them. That's incredible. Thorax swords did really well. They all got triple digits. Some of them almost got 300 kills. But that's what they are expected to get. The hoplites, not really as good. A couple units got in 100. That's alright. But the archers, I don't know how they did it, but we had a few archers get almost 200 kills. 3 sets of archers got well into the triple digits. It's not bad at all. The Carthaginian skirmishers didn't really play too much of a part in the battle. They did keep the Spartan archers busy for a while. I mean, they eventually got involved in the fight and did get some kills, but then by that point, the Carthaginian cav came in super, super strong. 1, 2, 3, 4 units getting well over 200 kills. 2 of the Carthaginian units got smashed. I believe one of them was the early one, where it took some kills when it got surrounded. But that's really, really impressive that Essem did so well with his cav, because that's, what, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units of shock cavalry. And 4 out of 6 got into very good triple digits. Very respectable. 200 plus, you're happy with any of these units. Anything under 200 is okay, but not really good enough. So mad props to him. That's a lot of micromanagement. And it's not as if his army was just like spears that just stood still. He had consistent attack orders that he had to give. His mercenary Iberian champions, all of them getting very, very well into the triple digits. 354 kills at the highest. His Libyan Phoenician swords as well, all very high, respectable triple digits. And when I'm saying high, I'm not saying high as in it's almost 1,000. I'm saying high as in the context of an online battle. If you have a sword unit that gets 300 kills, that's very high. That's really, really good. 100 is okay. 200 is high, very solid, good amount of kills. But yeah, you pop at 300, that's very, very high. Awesome stuff there. Even the swords. I mean, the spears, sorry, the Libyan Phoenician spears, Thurio spears came in quite well. And these little Libyan infantry units, I don't know how they did it, but a lot of them got into triple digits. These little punks, they're usually really terrible, but they ended up being quite cost effective. They're very cheap. I believe they do have a javelin. I'm not sure how many though, that might have changed since I last looked at Carthage, but the Carthaginian army overall, you can see the kill distribution is just everywhere. The only area it's lacking is in the skirmishes, and even then they didn't have to get a lot of kills. So a really well designed army for Essam. Considering his skill level, he obviously really knows how to micromanage his cav, so he played into that strength himself. Hyperthorne, his army wasn't bad at all. I don't think he really messed up his army composition. His 3 swords got smashed. I mean, there's a few that did okay, getting to triple digits, sort of mid-level. But, I mean, he's brought, what, 6 of them? And only 3 did well. The other 3 kind of got hammered. And then on top of that, he's pikemen and hoplites. They're not really going to get enough kills to be, you know, seriously worth it. It's really hard to do it, and they require a lot of micro. The thorax swords are a brilliant choice. Did very nice. Sparta really just needs to be very sword based, and the no choice on no cavalry was very risky. I understand why he did it, and I often try to do this myself, but I will try to do it in more rush style builds. Sometimes I'll do it for an army like this where he was trying to defend his rear, but then he got overwhelmed and he had to use his Spartan youths to plug up the holes. So because they couldn't hold his rear, the rest of his army just got smashed by rear charges. And so that's just unfortunate. He really had to be disciplined severely with those Spartan youths, but he also at the end of the day didn't really have too much of a choice, because he did have a few holes open up in his line with his allied units. The allied units of Sparta just can't be relied on. You really just need to use the proper homioi, I believe it is, or the proper citizen Spartan units. That's where the high morale is, and unfortunately about half of his army is full of allied units. So yeah, Spartan player did really well, as did both of them. Mad props to both gentlemen. You guys did fantastic with your skills. I look forward to watching more replays sent in by both of you. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I shall see you in the next one.